Alright, what's up guys, Vexidus here. Today I'm going to be going over my second ever RCL tutorial video. I made one back in 2017 for my Star Wars group. It blew up, it became a meme, and from it I had a lot of people tell me that it really helped them, and I just wanted to make a second one before I really quit this game and do it with my mic, be a little more in-depth, and since then I've learned a little bit more. So, with that said, let's get into it. This is going to be a long video. I'm going to go from like the basic shit to really complicated stuff of how you need to be thinking and playing. So let's do it. The first thing and the most important thing is awareness. Um, Awareness is a little bit more complicated than you may think, but just the basic way you got to think about it is you need to know where your teammates are, where your opponents are, at all times. So about every 5 seconds where you are, you're going to want to check your immediate surroundings, your flank, ahead of you, and where you think your enemies could be coming from. And this is where it gets a little more complicated. It's also learning how your opponent or how your opponents position themselves. Whether it's brick tops or a real base, you want to know how your opponents play and set up at any given point in the match. So if we're talking like Grounds TG3, everyone's just going to want to be spawn trapping. If this is your spawn, players are going to try and push up to there, here, 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 here. Don't let them do it. Play accordingly. If you can, get in those spots and go for it. In a raid, let's just for example, let's talk about Vaxbase Port Maersk. When you start out, it's the docks phase. After that, it's term phase. The difference between docks and term is completely different. The base changes halfway through it. It's total different gameplay. So you have to know how your opponents are going to be playing throughout the match. That's very broad and it goes into just about every different base, but there you go. So if you're in a 1v1, a little tip is if you're contesting someone, let's say he's on the opposite side of me, and all of a sudden he stops contesting you, you go in here to reload. You want to make sure he's not like coming over here to flank you. As soon as someone stops contesting you, just take that as a time, zoom out, figure out where they are. Yep, so the next thing I want to go over is Popshotting. Popshotting is pretty simple. You're just coming out of cover, taking a few shots, and then going back in. The basic concept here that you're trying to grasp is you are coming out of cover, trying to damage your opponent while giving your opponent the least opportunity to damage you. So here I'm like coming out for a second, getting maybe 3 shots off, going back in, just trying to make a quick little peek to get a few shots, maybe try and damage him, and not give him an opportunity to hit me. So you can do kind of like open wide angles like this, where you're really trying to land like 4 or 5 shots, or you can do kind of quick thing. You can start out from the right a little bit more, and then go left and try and just make it quicker. And also, if you saw right there, the with the way ROBLOX angles work, it's a little weird, but like my bullets kind of went through that wall a little bit for a second there. Let's try to see if it does it again. Whatever. You can rewind. Yeah, so you have to know when to peek. You don't want to be peeking when you're low, especially in raids or defenses. You do not want to be aggressive and be pop-shotting or peeking when you're low. Most importantly, it also applies to RCL matches, of course. You have 11 lives. You got to be careful with them. So yeah, you just be conservative when you're low. Depending on how good you are and what your aiming capability is and how you can pop shot and be able to hit shots, just based off of that, you got to know how aggressive you can be. Like, if you can land all those shots and get the person that you're contesting to play less aggressive, likely you're going to be hitting shots. They're not going to hit as many on you, and then you'll be able to play aggressive and push up. But not everybody can do that. Some people are going to have to play more relaxed, be more careful about their pop shotting, focus on the timing, and go at it from that angle. Not everybody can be super aggressive. Either way, being super aggressive isn't always the best thing either. So now, with pop shotting, the biggest thing comes pre-aim. You want to put your cursor where you think your opponent is going to peek, or like if they're out of cover, you want to put your cursor on them and then peek. So let's say My opponent's right there. I want to put my cursor on them and then peek. If I'm doing this, I mean, like, you could almost, like, if you don't have very good aim, you could start things out. Like, if I'm gonna jump peek here, kind of go like this, you can kind of just keep your cursor right about there. Makes an easier adjustment, because, like, when I'm doing this, I'm fully adjusting, I'm keeping it on my head. Let's see. Yeah, so as you're contesting your opponent, like let's say I'm pop-shotting somebody over there, I want to pay attention to see how they peek, because they can peek from just straight up right there. They can do a little jump thing right there, or if they're good at it, they can do kind of like a little half step out thing, kind of like what I did right there. That little quick peep pop shot's easier over there. I'll show you here. They can go like this, or on that angle, be like this, that, or like that. So, just to start things off, I'm going to put my cursor basically in the middle of all that, just right above that little point, because it's in between, or it's on one of the spots he peaks, and in between the other spots, so I can just make a quick adjustment. So I'm going to preaim that. If I want to be pre-firing, I'm going to put it right there. If he peeks that way, likely my cursor is going to be close enough, I might hit him either way, but I'll adjust. If he goes down that way, I'll adjust. But if he jumps the middle way, I'm going to hit it. Or if he jump peaks like this way, I'm still going to hit him, because he's still going to like kind of meet my cursor. So when you can teach yourself how, and like find other ways to do angles like that, you can do it here too. Like if my opponent's right there, I'm going to put my cursor right about in the middle. Or if he peaks low, like here he has two ways to peek. You can peek like this, or you can go like this. Or sorry, you can go like this. So I'm gonna put my cursor like, there's the ledge. I'm gonna put it like right about on the ledge. If he peeks low, I adjust. If he peeks high and jumps, my cursor's on him. Or if he peeks high, I adjust. Okay, what else? Yeah, so where I was going with that is, so if my opponent's over there, I want to try and learn how he peeks. Like if we're in some kind of long fight, like these are IA guns, so if he's getting healed, and I'm getting healed, I guess, and I'm just contesting how to get some damage here. Let's say he only has this, just jumping up, going like this. He doesn't want to do a little bit of that or that. So that's just what I'm going to focus on. If he wants to show me that he's only going to peek from one angle, then I'm going to shoot at one angle. So you want to learn how your opponents are pop-shotting. Usually you can get it after like one or two peeks. It's not hard. You just take what they give you. Let's see. Yeah, the next thing I'm going to go over is pre-firing. Especially out of cover and pop-shotting, you can pre-fire all day. Because, you know, you're out of cover, you can reload. Even if they started to push, as soon as you went back into cover, you can reload real quick. And it's not that bad, not the end of the world. But if you're rushing out of cover, let's think RCL guns, you have the 30-round GPR and then your 12-round pistol. You could probably get away with doing a lot of pre-firing. Like if you were to rush from here, you could probably get away with it if you're rushing this angle right here. But with IA gun, like I definitely couldn't get all the way there. I'm at 0. I don't have an angle on him. He could peek right now or anytime before that, and I'd be kind of low on bullets or hit where I am right now. So with IA guns, like the kind of way, if I wanted to pre-fire, I'd be pre-firing right now. Like if he was low, if it's a 1v1 and this guy's low over here, I'm pre-firing all day. But I'm gonna kind of be careful with it, because like these few shots, if he peeks, that's all. I'm fine with hitting those 3 shots or whatever, or the 2, whatever I get. But I can push up. He's low. I don't need a full mag to kill him. So if your opponent's low, you can definitely do a lot of pre-firing, especially when you're pushing. As you're contesting somebody, if you can kind of get the rhythm of how they peek, like if you have an opponent, like just watch how I'm peeking right now. Like in between each time I peeked, it was relatively about the same amount of time. If you can kind of gather how often somebody's peeking and put together which angles they're peeking from, if you can kind of guess when they're going to peek, and do it maybe like right as they jump, or even just right after, you're going to have a better reaction time than, or well, you're going to be hitting more shots and you're already going to be seeing them and peaking, and you will be doing better off than if you were reacting to them peaking and then hitting your spacebar rather than trying to guess it. So if you do that, it also, like with latency reasons, it'll be a little fucky for them because like you're timing it perfectly, but like on your screen, but on their screen you'll still be a little late, and like on their screen they may think like lag or you hit them in cover or like whatever. It just won't. They won't be happy about it. It works for you though. You just don't want to be peaking like in the same spot that you were peaking previously, because obviously they were peaking too. So you want to be careful, like especially with a SMG or IA gun, where somebody can do a lot of damage. You definitely want to be careful there about how you're peaking in that situation, especially if you're low. So if you can kind of get the rhythm of how often they're peaking, you can take advantage of that. That especially applies on like this map or brick tops. Let's say I'm in a 1v1 and we're peaking like this. Just again, watch how I peak. If you can guess that and you can peek and you start jumping right about then, if his, like, let's say like I'm doing that, if he's like over here and I think he's over here, I'm peeking over here, but at the same time he peeks right there and we're both jumping out, he has more time that we're both in the air and more time that he's going to be able to hit me, rather than if I jumped, he reacted to it, jumped himself, and then tried to hit shots on me. So if you can get that timing, it helps. Let's see. Angles. So you want to set an angle that you will need for where your opponent is going to be. That's in for rushing. Like if there's a guy right here, I want to set my angle like this, or well, I'd probably want to be able to hit there too. So I'm going to set my angle like something about here. Like if I'm rushing down right about here, like this lane, I'm going to set my initial angle to right about here. So I can hit this, and then if I had to, I could maybe flick to this. So I'm going to push up. Like at this point, you could make a mini adjustment like that, and at this point, make your final adjustment. So I'll do that like in full motion. I'll do the one adjustment and then multiple. Oh, no, sorry. The first time I did it, I did the one adjustment. I'm going to do the multiple. Kind of, you get the concept. You should make that quick adjustment as you need it. But that's something that you definitely want to do, because like right now, if I'm pushing this angle, like this is the angle that I have pushing up. When I push up here, by this point, I can't see the other end of that wall, but my body's there just because of where my camera is. But if I come here, there it is. So your body's over here, but your camera can can see over here. You have to take advantage of that. Because watch. Alright, about like if someone's peeking right there, like you can't hit that side of the wall from here, but if somebody's peeking right there just because of like the width of their body, likely you're gonna hit them. That's just how Roblox angles work. So you want to set your angle close to where you're gonna push. As you're pushing, make your quick adjustment. There you go. Because you don't want to be like pushing, like watch. If I have to go for that guy and I just stick with this angle, even if I make like a good one and I'm not too worried about over there, I'm still like, I have to get to here to see that. Alright, so I'm gonna, so in like a CQC situation, especially on Greenland or a map like this, the angle that you want is definitely like a zoomed in angle kind of to the left. And I'm not going to try to explain that. You can look up ROBLOX RCL angles. Probably watch a Guardy Bass video or something about it. But with the way Roblox angles work, like, see how my cursor's way over there and I'm still hitting my head? I mean, it makes no sense. Like, watch. Look how much bigger the hitbox is. Let's watch. From right here. Let's see. There it is. Right there. That's the hitbox. From right there. all the way to the edge. And then it would just work on the other side too. All the way to the edge. There you go. That's Roblox angle summed up. If you can take advantage of that, you can give yourself a bigger hitbox, literally. And like you have this whole area right here, like from this point right here, right where my cursor is, all the way to the right edge of my head is your hitbox. Let's show on the arm. Same concept. The entire body is the hitbox. You get like, when you do this, yeah, when you do this, that little gap right there between my cursor and the edge of my right arm is how much you're extending that hitbox with doing this angle. And it kind of works a little zoomed out too. You can do stupid shit like this. That makes no sense. That's Roblox angle summed up. Like what? You guys see this? Yeah, welcome to Roblox. Angles are retarded. If you get good at it, you can become the next Reaper Magic. Reaper Magic is good because he has stupid angles like that. In some CQC situations, a high angle can be a good angle. Like let's say if somebody's pushing me, I'm playing right here, the enemy team's pushing me from here. Especially if I'm low, what you can do, just sit right here, and you can play. You're completely in cover. They have to, like, they'll push up. You can't damage them if they're here. They can't damage you. They can jump up. They can't even. Can you hit? You might be able to hit if there's a body there. You can damage them if they jump. So if they're peeking like there, you can hit them. You can hit that. You can like, cause you can hit right here. What point? There you go. So yeah, you can hit that. Cause their gun will be peeking out. But when they push you, you can just sit right here. Get this high angle where you have all this space, this free space where they're gonna come. You can get your cursor. And then when they peek, you can rush them like that. And when you stand like this, it makes it a little harder for them to hit you, especially in a CQC situation when they may be like over adjusting, like they're pushing. Like if he's going like this and he has to push up, he's having to make that right side adjustment. So if you're just up against this wall, I mean, it does work. Like not every situation it's gonna work. Maybe an RCL or with a gun that has spread, it might help you more. Maybe with a 100% accuracy gun, it might not. But just test it all out. Start to get like a feel for how everything I'm teaching you works and applies to different situations. Then that's how you'll get better. Yeah. So zoomed in. Especially like an LQC is the best. Definitely want to go for like this weird down low angle for LQC, because I mean, there you go. I'm showing it right there. It's hitting that thing. My cursor's to the right of it. The angle helps, especially in LQC. LQC it like changes everything. If you do the angle right, you're not that good at LQC, and then you try it, you're kind of like, what the fuck? So the angles are good and all, but you also have to be able to put your cursor on them. You don't want to be, I guess, trying to aim for that like free little extra hitbox, because you're not always going to get the exact angle down each time, and the hitbox is going to be different each time, as I showed with those different two angles, like the low one and then the close right. So you definitely want to be aiming for them, and in different situations you might not want to be angled. Like you might be high up like this in a situation and you have to gunfight like that. You definitely want to learn to be able to play like this, because if you're like in a full squad of like 10 people in a raid, you're not going to want to be like this in your push with 10 people around you. So you're going to have to learn how to play zoomed out like this maybe sometimes. So you definitely got to get with that. Yeah, those high angles are definitely going to become something you got to figure out and know when you have to do them in the CQC and in situations when there's a lot of people around you, or just based off of where your angle was, and also you see something you're out of cover and you got to fuck them up. So next thing I want to go into is Mindgames / deception, and that's simply you just got to pop shot randomly. When you're pop shotting, you got these like I showed you, got the 1, the 2, and the 3. The 3 angles. So you got here. If I wanted to shoot there, you got here, Get there. Oh, let me do it better. Get that. And then you got this thing. So if you have those 3 pop shots, you don't want to do them all in like this. You don't want to do that, that. You don't want to have a pattern. You want to be random. And not be making any patterns. You can definitely do things twice in a row to try and confuse your opponents, because like if somebody's really trying to pre-aim and you're just pop-shotting them, they're probably going to pre-aim different angles and you could be peeking from different ones. Something you can definitely do if you get good at it is peek from different angles quickly. So like here, here, here. Well, I'm just going to show you the 2. You can figure it out. So you would peak from like here low and then go high. So when you go low and they haven't peaked yet, they might start to peak. You come in and then you go high at a completely different angle. They have to adjust, and your cursor is practically still there. Another thing is making your opponent think you're going one way and then you go the other. So let's say my guy or my opponent is, just look where my cursor is, he's on the opposite side of me, right about there. So if I want to push up, I'm going to kind of come here to the left, make it look like I'm going to the right, and then I'm going to hop over to the right, adjust at that last second, and then go from here. So I'll do that kind of fast so you can see what I mean. You can also like pre-fire on that left side. I've never even tried that, but I guess like you could pre-fire on the left side, get their attention, and then go to the right. So I guess to do that faster, let me show you how I would do it. Let me do that one more time. Yeah, that's how I would probably do it. That little shot to the left could distract them, make them think that like I'm doing this or something like that, where I'm coming down, I'm already shooting, I'm pre-firing, I'm coming down to the left. Makes them like, because if they're sitting here and they see that like this is their angle, or unless they're like this, even then when I get close to that left and I take that left shot and I shoot like over here, it could make them change their angle, and then I drop on them. This is everything they see, and then I could go like, I could go from here. I could sit right there, and I'm like behind their angle. If you can rewind like 5 seconds from here and see that angle I had just a second ago, I'm like behind them and kind of fucks them up. So when you do stuff like that, you can also do, just to give you the concept. Let's say I want to go here when I'm pushing. I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna come, like if I sit right here, like peek to the right. Right now, what am I doing? Okay, let's start over here. So if I want to do it this way, come here, come to the right a little bit. Don't want to do that. Come to the left, do there. Or I guess this is a better way to show you. This is probably how I do it. Be pre-firing here as I push up, come to the right, boom. Okay. Another thing I like to do, if I'm pop-shotting somebody, especially like in RCL, and they stop peeking me for a second, I'm just pre-firing, especially if they're low, I like to do it. I'll come out of cover for a second, go back in, and then come out. So the way I'll do it, this is about how my timing would be. So I come out of cover, I just freeze for a second, and I don't give them an opportunity to come back in, or to peek just then. I go back in right then, and then I come out, and I pop shot. You can, like on the second time you do it, you can do it a little longer. You just definitely want to be ready to start shooting. You want to be pre-aiming 100%. So that second time, if they didn't peek you the first time, you want to do it again. You can come out, do it just like a split second longer. You can shoot on your way out, and then you can go back to your pop shots. So the way I do that second one is like this. So just little mind games like that. You can figure out more shit like that as you play Roblox, get better at it. You'll figure out new little tricks like that on your own. So for rushing, you want to know the health of your opponent and your health. And it's all about momentum shifts, especially in like a 1v1 scenario. If you're 80 health, he's 20, might as well press W. In that situation, you want to be doing a lot of pre-firing and pre-aiming if you're pressing W, like out of cover to someone who's in cover. So Like if you're 50-50, if you and your opponent are both 50 health, if you feel like you're better than them, or you're confident, or you want to try rushing, go for it. Pre-fire, pre-aim, do what you got to do. But you definitely don't want to be going like you're 20 health. You definitely don't want to be pop shotting. You definitely don't want to be rushing, or if you're 30, I mean, just figure out how the speed of the game is going, whether it's TG3, a raid, whatever, or what playstyle you want to be playing. If you want to have high deaths but a shitload of kills and a lot of damage, go for it. Or if you want to be playing for KD, you can do that, and that's just having to be super conservative. When you're rushing, you want to think like, what is the best route I can take here to give me a good angle, good cover, and the best opportunity for success. So like, if I'm wanting to rush a guy that's right there, if I'm 80, he's 40, I might as well be open contesting, so I'm not too worried about what cover I'm in. So I'm going to get my angle, I'm going to go, make my adjustment, go for that kill. But let's say, let me think. So if I want to be rushing a different angle, let's see. Alright, so if I want to be rushing the other side here, I have two ways I can do it. I can kind of go all the way to the left here, and I have all this open space I have to run to. Like, let's say my opponent's right here where I am, and I'm right here. I can go all the way to the left here. I can rush him like that. Or I can get a little tricky, use what my surroundings give me, and I can go to the right, use this as cover, come right here. If he drops back, I'm going to go like this. Or I could go, just rewind a little bit. He's on the opposite side of me. I can go to the right, still using my cover. If I want to go high, I can. Then I can go low. But yeah, also, when you're rushing somebody, kind of what I just did there, in a situation where you have small bits of height advantage, like this, this, and this, definitely want to take advantage of it. Like, let's say right now in this situation, I'm 60 health, he's 30, or even if he's 60, we're both half, or let's just say we're both half. If I want to push up, I can go high. He's on the opposite side. He's like right where my cursor is, right there. And start here, go low, or I can go like this, or I can do something like this. Or sorry, let me restart. Or I can go like this. Just use your height advantage, or you could sit in that situation. If you just wanted to come right here and use this as a way to make your pop shotting different, make it like a wider pop shot, you can do that. You can do that in a lot of situations. It helps. If you're just pop shotting, you can use a height advantage to make your pop shot, like it's making it a lot bigger and a lot wider, where it's giving me more height, first of all, but it's just making it different, where it could be harder for my opponent if he isn't able to trace this with his cursor proper enough. So that helps. Let's see. Yeah, so you want to take the best possible route. So in this situation, just running out of cover here, maybe not, or if he's on the opposite side, maybe just rushing out of here is not the best option. You want to take those side routes to get closer to your opponent while still in cover, and reduce the amount of time where you have to rush out of cover to get to your opponent. That's a good way to think about it. Let's see. Yeah, so the whole situation, it totally varies based off a couple things, like A, how long you're out of cover, B, how many opponents may be shooting you once you peek. That goes into your awareness, you have to know. What is their health, you gotta know, etc. So you have to factor all that in and make the smart decision. Most of the time, it's not rushing, especially in situations where you're in a raid, TG3, maybe in 1v1s, it's a lot more cut and dry, you know, based off of health and that momentum. Or you just feel a lot more confident than your opponent, then you can be rushing. But most of the time, a conservative playstyle will take you farther than rushing. Because let's think about it. Let's say you're at terminal and you're in a raid, and you start playing aggressive, you die. Or you could play conservative, get to one shot, last another push, you heal to like 50, the enemies push, maybe you die. But you had that more damage, you were there for your team, you lasted longer. That's the way you have to play. That's how you win at this game. You have to play conservative, play smart, know when you have to push, when you should be playing conservative, etc. Next thing I want to talk about is your mouse and DPI. First thing, let's see. Hit your Windows button. Go to search mouse. The mouse settings. Go to additional mouse options. Go to pointer options. Turn enhanced pointer precision off. Make sure that is unchecked. And I will give you a warning right now because I did it today. I've been using it for like 5 years on this game. Turn it off. It basically like speeds up your cursor and slows it down randomly. You can like Google how it works specifically, but it's not exactly your mouse movements and based off of the DPI of whatever your mouse is. It's not exact. So turn that off, and it is exactly whatever you are doing. It is what you should have, because then you can get a lot better. If you have a like cheap $5 Intel mouse or something that doesn't have DPI, you're gonna have to go into your settings here on the pointer options, and you can change this pointer speed to like a slower setting, and that can be how you can change your DPI. But if you have a gaming mouse, whether that's a $10 mouse where it just has like one button and you can switch between 4 different modes, usually it's going to be like 400, 600, 800, 1200 or something like that, or you have like a high quality mouse, like I have a Logitech where it gives me software where I can choose anywhere from 1 DPI to 12,000 or whatever it is. So personally, I use 350. I definitely recommend using anywhere from 300 to 800. Let's be honest, 300 to 600. I originally was on 800. I switched to 400 and got it like 10 times better. All I'm saying. But low DPI, in my opinion, is the way to go. Personally, I think like the perfect little zone is from 350 to 450. I think that's the best spot. Can't get any better. Low DPI makes it to where you can be really good in LQC. You have to work on your CQC. When you switch to a lower DPI, especially if you're going from like even just like 800 to 400 like I did, the feeling is just terrible. It feels like the slowest thing in the world. You feel like you can't get your cursor from one end of the screen to the other. It sucks. I get it. You have to get used to it. Like if you have a square mouse pad, you can kind of tilt it to where it's turned like maybe like 30 degrees where it's almost like a diamond, and when you do that, it kind of makes it makes it like wider kind of. So if you do that, it can be a little trick if your mouse pad's not big enough. But definitely lower that DPI anywhere from 300 to about 650 or 600. That's where you want to be. And it's gonna feel terrible if you're switching from like anywhere above 800 to that. It's going to feel absolute terrible. Or if you're switching from this setting right here, what I've got right here, all the way to the lowest, or maybe the second lowest, trying to slow it, and you can't change your actual DPI, it's going to suck. It's going to feel terrible. You just have to get used to it, and you absolutely will. It'll take like if you're playing a lot, like if you're spending like 2 or 3 hours a day, it might take 2 to 3 days, or it might take a week, but it's not going to be like a month. And you'll see the progression rapidly, especially if you were good before and you're using fundamentals from this video. So definitely do that. Let's see. Yeah, so if you want to get better, specifically with like how you aim, aim training is the way to go. My way, let me show you. I've been doing this for a couple years. I just find like a little pole, somebody who's standing still, somebody who's running around, or just any fixed point like that corner right there. And I just shoot at it, and I strafe. So right now, I want to focus on the head. I try to keep my cursor on the head. Bear with me, because I turned off pointer precision, so I'm kind of bad right now. I have to get my aim again. It's going to take me like 3 or 4 days, hopefully, and not like a month. But yeah, so you just want to keep your cursor on one fixed point. I'm going for the head right now. Let me actually sit right, so I'm doing this right. Not looking retarded. So I'm just aiming for the head. Really, I'm just watching my raise too much right now. It's messing me up. But or the chest. Just keep it in the chest. You can start there. You don't have to like just go for the head. Like right now, going for the head's a little harder. Or just keep it on the body. That's how you warm up. So this A warms you up. It kind of, this is my Vexita science here. Warms up all your little hand muscles, gets you going, gets the juices flowing. Totally bullshitting, but in my opinion, it warms me up whenever I'm off, especially like if I'm off for more than a day or I just woke up, just gets me going, and it's easy. And any given point, it could be before a match at TG3. You can just stare at the wall at a fixed point and kind of go like this. You don't even have to have a cursor or a gun. There you go. Keep it on that. Just warms up your hand a little bit, gets you aiming. And in my opinion, that's a good way to just spend like 5 minutes of your day just to train yourself on that. Or just do it whenever you want to warm up, and it helps. I can definitely say you do not want to be using bots. They don't peek and pop shot the same way a player does. It's not going to teach you anything other than how to match their pattern. So the best way to get better, 110%. If you want to get your aim better, all the fundamentals are one thing. You can pre-aim and become 10 times better just by pre-aiming and pre-firing right. But if you want to be able to open contest and LQC people and consistently land shots, the best way to get better at it is to open contest 1v1 spars. So that could be like on this map of Greenlands, you got a guy over there, you're just gotted and you're just shooting at each other. Or you have your, or you're playing drills and you're set to Greenland, the spawn's right there, the other guy spawns right there. It's just come out here, kill each other, respawn right here, no FF, you start again. Do that for an hour. Do it for 5 hours. Do it for a year. Whatever the fuck you want to do. You want to become Hey Pro? You want to become the fucking FaZe Clan Ninja Optic Gaming of RCL? Go for it. No life it. That's how literally you would do it. If you know life training like that, that's pretty much how you would do it, as long as you're not playing stupid. And the biggest thing is just consistency. If you want to get better over time and go from like, if you want to go from like on the scale of RCL skill, if there is one to 10, if you're at a 3 and over a month you want to get to a 6, the way you're going to do that is consistency. So every day you have your, I don't know whether you're spending an hour or 2 hours on Roblox a day, you've got a little bit of Thelt Grounds TG3 or a Raid in Defense or whatever. You have that. You want to have that at least every day. And days that you don't have that, just spend a little time, maybe 10 minutes doing the standing still, aiming at something like that. Or you can find somebody to spar just for 10 minutes. And that'll be, you did your 10 minutes for that day. And that'll make it to where you're not rusty the next day, hopefully. Yeah, consistency is the biggest thing. If you stay on a schedule, you're not taking long gaps in between when you play, you're going to constantly get better. You're going to get that muscle memory, and you're going to notice it. Next thing I want to go over is balance between your playstyles. You want to play smart. That means waiting for momentum shifts or opportunities for you to flank, crossfire, or push your opponents. While you're waiting, you have to play conservative and be smart about how you position yourself and how much you want to pop shot and contest your opponents. Like I said earlier, if you are confident, you know you can hit those shots, go for it, pop shot. But in a situation where you need to be conservative, if you're like defending terminal, you want to chill. You want to have that health, make your opponents come to you, and then start pop shotting. But at any given moment, you need to be ready to either push with your team, recognize a momentum shift, or any real reason for you to feel confident in pushing, and start pushing yourself. And in that situation, I'm referring to like if you're at Thelt Grounds TG3, and you can just start pressing W if everybody in front of you is low, and your team will probably follow you. But like if you're in a raid, you probably are going to be organized through VC or through VC, so you're going to have a raid leader doing all that for you. But you just got to play chill. Like let's say you're raiding a base, you are death holding a terminal. That means you're trying to get your whole team in a terminal, and you just try to last as long as possible. So in that situation, the defending team literally has to come to you. So in that situation, your best bet is to, depending on how the base is set up, unless it's Raider sided and the Raiders can somehow be able to play aggressive in turn, but the Raiders are going to want to play conservative, make the defenders come to them, and get the defenders out of cover, which likely is how it's going to work at a base to get into terminal, and then go from there. Let's see. Yeah, you just got to know how to be smart. You'll get a feel for it. It won't be something you have to really think about. It's just you know when you can push, you know when you can't, you know when you can pop shot, you know when you can't. All of this will come to you. Yeah, so the key to becoming good is that consistency in your mentality. For consistency, it's all about your routine. If you want to get better and really see results, you got to dedicate time to do that little bit of aim training on top of anything else you do on Roblox once a day. If you don't want to grind aim training every day, at least get one session of a rated defense or dealt grounds where you are genuinely trying. What I mean by genuinely trying is following all the fundamentals, getting in a competitive mindset, and just go off. For mentality, you have to go into things as a competitor. You're there, so you might as well win. To do this and to do it at a high level, you need to be super focused. You have to play smart and use all the tools you have learned and think things through. All of this turns into something called game sense, how you play, how you put everything together without having to think about it. If you can do it all right, you can have really good game sense, and if you have good aim with good game sense, you can become a really good player. So that's pretty much it, guys. With all that said, I just want to say I made this video a long time ago as a meme with my Star Wars group to try and help them, and it helped a lot of people. I wanted to make the second one with my mic before I quit this game, so I really hope this helps you guys. And if you have any questions, I'm going to put my Discord in the description, and you can DM me or you can put it in the comments. So thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.